Welcome to a special NFL Draft edition of the Bullpen Pod.
Can you guys see the bathrooms open?
I'm going to close that.
We are live from Chicago at the beautiful Hyatt Centric on the 20th floor here in my hotel room.
Penthouse!
And we have a special guest with us for this podcast. Yahoo Sports' own Andy Behrens is here.
It is an honor. It's an absolute honor.
He's the only person who has sponsored the podcast the entire time that we've been on.
Go Hawkeyes.
I feel like we're kind of letting you down by not wearing all Iowa gear.
I know.
You wear the foam fingers.
Yeah.
I wore something close.
Mine is sitting on my desk at home. It's
You got so
still
many
there.
socks.
I wore Iowa.
Anyway, this will be a special, like we said last week, a mock draft edition. The rules are pretty simple on this. Each person will be picking for a team. They make the pick based on, if they were the GM, what they think that team should do, not necessarily what you've heard in other mock drafts or what you just, from your sources, Andy. I know you have a lot of sources.
Yeah. I'm
Chris
constantly-
Broussard?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I am, in fact, the Chris Broussard
Sources.
of sources. Yes, sources.
So, I guess without further ado, you can follow along on the Bullpen Pod, at the Bullpen Pod, although by the time this airs, we'll have already tweeted out all the picks. You can go and react and let us know if you liked them, if you didn't like them. You can always email us.
Nobody lets you know if they like them.
No, they don't.
That's not
They
how
don't.
this works.
Yeah, that's never.
Cliff will definitely chime in saying what he hates the most.
We love you, Cliff. Keep listening, keep retweeting.
Speak for yourself.
All right, anyway, without further ado, I guess we'll get it started off. And because you're the special guest, Andy, we're going to let you have the first pick. The LA Rams are on the clock.
This is actually, this is a terrible spot for me because I would have never done what the Rams did, okay? I get the fact that they need a quarterback. I appreciate that they are locked in, presumably, on Jared Goff. I totally get it. I would not have given up a haul of picks if I were that team, if I were very many teams, to get the top quarterback in this particular draft. I like next year's quarterback field. I don't know. I wouldn't have done what they did, but I want to preserve the integrity of this mock draft. And
We appreciate that.
And I'm going to go ahead and take Jared Goff, which I do not think, he's not close to what I have as the best available player. But whatever, it's the most important position in football. We know they're doing it, so I'm going to go ahead and take Goff here.
And
I will say that I like him a great deal more than Carson Wentz, and I know it's dangerous to align yourself with Sean King, but I'm very much with Sean King
We did tweet through this together.
on his assessment of Carson Wentz. I don't get the Carson Wentz love. I think he probably just showed so well in person at the Senior Bowl that people fell for him because it's not.
he's a winner, though. He's
Yeah,
a winner.
It's the 5 championships.
Man, it's not. He threw 612,
The guy- you can't
612 collegiate attempts. That's the full body of work. 62% completion percentage last year, which is no great shakes. Not like big arm, but actually not good on deep passes. Completed 12 of 40 deep passes. There's not a lot in the actual numbers against inferior competition in a dome to like about Carson Wentz. But go ahead. Go ahead, take him number 2.
Yeah.
Plus, if you read that profile on him, he killed birds. I mean, so it's like
right.
kind of knock him down in my book for killing birds.
Well,
Well-
if you're a team that hates birds, sure.
Since that was a smooth segue into the Philadelphia Eagles, we drew cards, or I can't remember how we did it, but I think we drew cards. I let you pick, and we went from there. And so I've got the number 2 pick with the Philadelphia Eagles. In my notes, all it said was, take whatever quarterback Andy doesn't take. So I will take Carson Wentz.
Wait a
from
second.
North Dakota State.
Because Christian Hackenberg is still
No. He's going to the Bills at 19.
And
Don't
he
worry.
didn't take him.
Oh my God! If there's one guy in this draft that is less accurate than Carson Wentz, it's Hackenberg.
Yeah.
What man?
Unless
well,
he goes
yeah.
to Houston, and then he'll be Hall of Fame material.
Right, yeah. He gets under his old coach, Bill O'Brien, and
Treats him like his dad.
I gotta think that on tape and on resume, Hackenberg is not even a draftable quarterback, but he's probably going to go in the first. Is he going to go in the first 2 or 3 rounds? That's crazy.
Pete Prisco started this on Twitter Wednesday morning by tweeting out, all this talk about Hackenberg, but this guy also had subpar college stats, and it was Brett Favre's college resume. And then Twitter just lost its mind.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know about Hall of Fame.
all right. So the one thing I will say about Wentz, the guy does move very well. Like he's got, and if Chip Kelly were still in Philadelphia, he'd be perfect for that offense. But he's not. I think he'll be okay with Doug Peterson.
I'll tell you
Maybe
something else
Maybe
about
that's
Wentz.
just my. I am wearing a North Dakota hockey sweatshirt here, which I know they're complete rivals
you're
with
kinda
North
biased.
Dakota State, but I will pull for the guy.
He
just
took
'cause
some
he's-
sacks in college where even David Carr is like, come on, man. get rid of the ball."
he had some. I think
Slow processor.
the speed of the game is going to kill him if he plays in year one.
Doesn't he have to sit?
Yeah.
Like the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
year?
That's why I don't understand the whole Bradford thing.
But that's not
That's
true,
why
though,
he-
because as Tank so eloquently stated, Sam Bradford is the porcelain goddess, meaning by game 3,
Yeah.
Carson Wentz will be the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Dumpster Fire Eagles.
Well, Sam Bradford also must be the porcelain goddess of like just mental capacity
Yeah, his
as well,
feelings are
because he, like, do you really want a guy like that doesn't even want competition? Like,
But did he
said-
sign
yeah.
a $113 million contract?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he should be okay.
All right. Anyway,
Sitting
we'll
on
move
free
on
money.
to number 3. This is where the real draft is going to get interesting.
Yes.
This is where our draft gets interesting. JP, you're picking for the San Diego Chargers.
Starting with the first shakeup,
Uh-oh.
have pulled up the depth chart for the San Diego Thunderbolts.
And you stopped at Melvin Gordon. You're like,
I wish I could draft a running back first for a do-over of last year's draft. But as I look into this defensive backfield, I see a glaring issue. That is why the San Diego Chargers will select one Jalen Ramsey from Florida State University. He's going to shore up that defensive backfield. That defensive front's not bad. Not a big fan of Manti Te'o because he has invisible friends and he's not that great of a football player. But Denzel Perryman brings the hammer. Melvin Ingram has been great since he's been in the league. I could see Brandon Flowers sitting down because, of course, Jason Verrett's the future. Dwight Lowry, San Jose State standout free safety. Great in coverage. Doesn't really bring the hammer, but that's okay. And Jaleel Adai is good. Like, he's solid. I know everybody's seen him with the dreads. Everybody who has dreads is usually epic. He is not far from that.
John Jaso.
So,
John Jaso. First John Jaso reference ever on the bullpen.
So, for all those out there who thought I was going to pick the standard player, which would be DeForest Buckner, now going with any Oregon Ducks, the end.
Wow.
All right, moving on.
Ramsey's
Well,
the best player on the board, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree with that.
So
100%.
JP he stuck to his board. He went best player available, which is what a lot of GMs say they do,
But
even though
don't.
we know it's actual BS.
Oh, this is the most interesting pick in the draft, right? Like in the first round. Who's picking for Dallas?
Because nobody knows.
It's Doherty. We're going around the horn here.
Well,
We're
nobody
going like this.
nobody knew who was picking the Chargers. I mean, who they're going to pick. We still don't know.
So at 4 with Dallas,
You get to be Jerry Jones.
I get to be Jerry
What
Jones.
is it like to
which
be?
is,
You are dressed like Jerry Jones compared to the rest of
somewhat.
us.
Got the button shirt and the tucked outside the sweater and everything.
This night is going to end like a typical Jerry Jones night. Too.
Oh,
In flames?
This is gonna be fun. You know, my gut instinct at first said, God, that secondary is terrible. I gotta go DB. Ramsey's off the board already. So I can't do that. And then I look at that defensive line, and nothing excites me about that. You got DeMarcus Lawrence suspended. You got Randy Gregory suspended. You got
He's
Brett
out.
Hardy is gone. Rightfully so. So I'm going with what Steven Jones says the Cowboys should do. I'm saying the Cowboys take Joey Bosa out of Ohio State.
Okay.
All right. Now, are you picking Joey Bosa because you're interviewing him tomorrow? Is that
We could probably
I
clip
played
this
the
off
fifth.
and show him.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I plead the fifth.
How does everybody feel about Joey Bosa? How much better do we think Joey Bosa?
I think he's
is gonna
getting
get?
a
We
really
just
bad
talked about
rap.
that.
I think he's getting a really bad rap, because he was a dominant college player. He's
Yep.
really good. I think he'll be a serviceable pro. I don't think he's going to be J.J. Watt or any of the what people were comparing him to after what was it 2 years ago, that
Yeah.
championship run that they had. But he'll be a good player. I think he's worthy of a top 10 pick. I just think for some reason people are just crapping on him.
I think he's good. I think
I-
he's a
I
very
know,
solid player. I think his ceiling is low.
Yeah.
We've seen the best of Joey Bosa in college. Not saying he's not going to be a great pro, but I don't see him.
But so, like, if this is as good as he gets, he's really good.
No, and I mean he's
But this might be as good as he gets.
correct. I don't see him getting any better than what he's shown in college football games. But he's still a solid football player.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones will love him on the defensive line.
All right, Andy, we're back to you. Number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Man, yeah. So I'm looking at two guys here. One is, you know what? The Jaguars are going to take Miles Jack. I don't know if this is really what happens, but I think if Ramsey isn't the best player in this draft, then Miles Jack is the best player in this draft. I don't.
With one leg?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know the medicals, but I wouldn't get, if I were a real life team, I would not get so caught up in how healthy is this guy gonna be in 4 years, 5 years, because it's the NFL and a zillion things can happen to you in year one. Right?
And they learned that last year with Dante Fowler.
Yeah,
Tearing his knee out in the first practice, literally.
Yep.
So that for me would be the danger, the concern for Jacksonville is that you have a guy with a knee injury and then you're taking another one that has it already.
I'm just taking the guy that I think right now is the best player on the board.
That's fair.
And
I
not
mean,
by a small
ACLs are
amount.
like sprained ankles now. I mean, somebody pops one and then comes back.
You're in Chicago, the home of Derrick Rose, so like we don't just dismiss
should
the
we watch,
ACL
should
injury.
we watch JP when we go out tonight? Make sure he doesn't pop a knee ligament or something, because we don't need that.
Might even lace up my Timbs now. Sheesh.
All right, so back around to me, number 6, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, this is a gift.
This is. I mean, yeah, it really is a gift. I'm going to go with the best offensive lineman. You know, consensusly, you know some people were talking about this. This guy was going to be the number 1 pick if the Titans didn't draft or didn't trade that pick away. And here the Ravens are getting him at 6. You know, you've never heard anything bad about him. Like, I mean, maybe some of the he got lazy sometimes because he wasn't as interested because the team was doing so well or his competition wasn't that great. So he kind of, you know. I can't really think of the word, but he just got a little disinterested with the competition. But he didn't give up a sack in, 2 years?
In the SEC?
Yeah.
The only charted sack allowed by Tunsil was as a freshman. That's crazy. That's crazy.
He moves like a tight end at offensive tackle.
This isn't like some small school kid either, right? Like
No.
that's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, no, that's nuts. So I will take Laramie Tunsil from Ole Miss. They get the next
Did you call them old, Miss?
Ole Miss. Ole Miss. No, I said.
Old. That old
I mean,
miss.
they could still be old. It is an old school. They get whatchamacallit, the Blind Side Part 2,
Yep.
if you will. And now we move on to JP, who's picking for the San Francisco 49ers. Evan glares at him. at number
Yo,
7.
I'm struggling with this one.
I do love that JP picks for
Everyone's favorite team, except for his own.
Picks for the Bears, picks for the Vikings, picks
I'm
for the
struggling with this one because the Niners, they need some help.
For team needs for the Niners, I wrote everything.
Yeah, but see this. If
That's
I'm not
fair
even-
assessment.
If I'm not being funny, I mean Trent Baalke just sucks. Like he really is he's hot garbage. And I feel like in real life he's gonna mess us up terribly bad. And I figure that it's gonna be Ronnie Stanley. But I don't want a soft offensive tackle. I don't like that. And then now we got Chip Kelly, aka Oregon University, and all I see is, Quentin Dial and Ian Williams. Those guys don't really hop off the board either. So I think Chip's gonna be Chip, and he's gonna ask Trent to take DeForest. So I'm gonna go with DeForest Buckner at 7. Sorry, Niner fans.
You don't seem
What-
that geeked up for wasn't he the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, right? Like, this is a
I
player.
I care not. Him and Eric Armstead both underperformed to me in college.
As a Niner fan, another defensive lineman doesn't excite me, but it is a side of the ball. I mean, as you said, Andy, everything has to get fixed, but I don't think anyone really on the board right now fills an immediate need.
That will make you immediately better.
Exactly. So I think you got to take a guy who long term has the attributes to be potentially one of those guys.
So I will say that I think San Francisco is lucky in the sense that they duck the quarterbacks who I think are
Right.
good, not great, and they're they're a top of draft team next year.
Right.
So I think they're in the mix for Watson next year, and that would be really exciting.
Absolutely. And they've got 12 picks this year, so
Right.
they could very well trade up and try to get a guy in the back end of the first if for some reason they're sold on a guy like Cook.
I
or
wanted
Lynch.
Miles Jack. If you didn't take Miles Jack, it would have been so sexy to see
Oh,
Navarro and Miles Jack side by
Yeah,
side. 'Cause
yeah.
that would have been
Against
Patrick
Todd
Willis
Gurley
and
twice a
Bowman.
year.
Mhm.
Well, Jack is one of the most. Jack probably won't go 5, right? Based on everything we've heard wherever I took him. He'd go anywhere.
Why not? If he slips to 7 and the Niners don't take him, that would be a terrible move. Because he brings the hammer.
Yep.
And they're in a division where everybody's running the ball straight down your throat. So yes, defensive line happens first, but if we're going with best player available, I will go with the explosive guy, which is Miles Jack, who can cover. That was the difference between him and Jalen Smith, is that Miles Jack can take a running back out of the backfield anywhere.
He can probably cover the slot, right? Like,
Yeah, he can.
Pretty much. Like Reggie Ragland is a hammer, but he
Yeah.
couldn't cover a running back to save his life.
Really,
So Miles Jack is the most dynamic linebacker in the draft.
I was really hoping Miles Jack would, in real life, he'll fall to 23 to the Vikings. We can just have the UCLA linebacking core.
Oh, Anthony Barr and Miles Jack.
The Minnesota
and
Bruins.
Eric Kendricks will be the Minnesota Bruins.
The UCLA Vikings.
we'll get to it later, but I do feel like the Vikings are like, we know 100% the position that they're taking.
And that's where I think everyone's going to be shocked tomorrow night.
Maybe. You're right. It's
But if we get that far in this draft, we'll discuss. 8, the Cleveland Browns, Evan.
All right.
When they made this trade this week, you were picking for the Eagles. I was picking for the Browns. Thank God that happened because I don't want to pick for that team.
Yeah, there's a part of me, the bullpen commentator, that wants to say Ezekiel Elliott because it's the Ohio State guy.
Yeah.
It's a skill
Local,
position.
yep.
You give Bob Griffin a little bit of help. But I feel like
Imagine if they incorporated the option.
I feel like this move is maybe a cue that, okay, there's someone with a little bit of competency in the front office in Cleveland. Sashi Brown, Paul DePodesta, using
Maybe.
the Moneyball scheme. So while Ronnie Stanley is the top guy in terms of offensive linemen on the board, if I'm in their shoes, I go Jack Conklin out of Michigan State.
Ooh. Well,
Oh, wow.
and Conklin can play right tackle, which he's probably a better right tackle
Then
than
he
a
is
left.
left tackle.
And I know that the Joe Thomas situation is there.
Exactly.
And there's talk of him being traded or whatever, but I do like that pick for them. He seems like, even though he played at Michigan State, he seems like a Cleveland guy.
Exactly.
So, real life, I feel like Cleveland would look to trade down if they liked
Yeah.
Conklin, right? Like they would.
Probably.
Totally reasonable pick.
Yeah.
He actually showed really well against Buckner,
Yeah.
against Oregon, right?
It was
So
good battle.
there's a lot of reason to like him. Like if Cleveland wants that, they can probably move down
Yeah, and
5-6.
In that situation, if for some reason that happened, they work it out with Thomas. They keep him around, have Conklin play right, and then once Thomas leaves, move him over to left.
Yeah. I like it. I like it that you
Yeah,
went a
that's
little
really
off
nice.
the board, too. All right, number 9, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And back to you, Andy.
I think this one is. I think the position of need is really obvious. Although, so we were talking about this a little bit pre-pod.
Mhm.
The buzz that I have heard is
Leonard?
Jack Lawson. I've heard that a couple of times. I just feel like they got it. Like especially in that division, they got to get a corner. I'm a little bit torn on Alexander versus Vernon Hargraves, but I'm going Vernon.
Vernal.
That's yeah. I mean, like, I was listening to an interview with him, or I was reading
Why
an
are you
interview something
pumping?
like
You
that.
love
Like,
Vernal. You were all about him all season.
But I'm trying to pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is a competition.
so I will
this
say
guy
one
right
thing
here.
that would be really reassuring about him. The receivers he's faced to this point are crazy.
Dude,
right?
they've been
Like,
top notch.
Yeah, we've seen him against Landry, against Odell, against Cooper. Like, there's not much left to prove.
And at 5'9", he's held his own against everyone.
Yeah.
And don't, Lawrence, I know you're going to hop on there and talk about that Michigan game that didn't matter when nobody at Florida gave 2 pieces of poop about what happened in that game. And yes, he got broke off by whoever number 82 was on Michigan. See, I don't even know his name. And that shows how great he was. Okay, so we're going to leave the last 2 Florida games off of this, and his record speaks for itself.
The only problem for Vernon now is that he's got Dirk Cutter as his head coach.
Ah.
So
They're gonna punt on third down all
yeah,
the time.
he's going to be playing
Fair.
defense all the time
Yeah.
because Dirk's going to punt on third down. So
Ouch.
All right, rounding out the top 10, I'm selecting for the New York Football Giants, as
Dumpster
Berman
fire.
would always say. And you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Zeke.
yes, I like it.
I know they have Jennings and Vereen and Williams and probably the ghost of Dave Meggett.
I know they have all of the
They
terrible
have
backs.
all of the terrible backs.
I just saw Tiki Barber recently. He
Tiki
still looks
Barber,
great.
he's coming back. Zeke's the best running back in this draft. If they don't take him here, they're not going to have a chance. They obviously wouldn't have a chance to get him in the second round. And you've got your wide receiver. you've got your quarterback. I don't think they go defense because they put so much money in that defense in
A
the
ton of money,
offseason.
yeah.
If you draft another defensive player, it's just kind of like, oh, so we're going to try to win all these games 10-7? And then who knows if that even's going to work because Eli throws 2-3 picks a game.
So I don't know if there's a position where the drop off between 1 and 2 is as stark as it is at running back either. So
Yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah, totally. Zeke, sorry the Chicago fans. I know they wanted him to drop that far, but he does not fall that far. And speaking of Chicago, Justin Perry will now pick for Andy's beloved Chicago Bears.
Another team that needs everything.
I thought that Zeke was going to fall,
Sorry,
but alas, he did not.
I should have taken Alexander just to mess with him.
As I look at this roster, we can see there is a glaring deficiency on the defensive line, one Andy Behrens.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
So we're going to, I just saw that Tracy Porter is your
they're
starting
able-
left cornerback.
They're able to wave at quarterbacks from afar. They don't actually get close enough to touch them.
Is
generally.
Tracy Porter really your starting left corner?
He might have been. He was probably in the
Didn't he win a
defensive
Super Bowl?
MVP
Didn't he play
Former
discussions
for
with
New
the
Orleans
Bears last
Saints
year.
great
Yeah.
Tracy Porter.
Yeah.
I like Lamar Houston coming over. I love Danny Trevathan leaving the Broncos.
I think I see where you're going. I love the pick you're about to make, by the way.
Oh, you already know who I'm taking?
Well, if we're already talking about Tracy Porter, I think I know the direction you're going, and I love the pick you're about to make.
I am going to take one Shaq Lawson, defensive end.
Oh!
Wow.
Okay, I like
He got
that
you
one
all
too.
sauced
I
up
like
there,
that one
Andy,
too.
and then he switched it on you.
That's okay.
I was there. I was very close to pulling that cornerback trigger.
Was the other pick from the same college?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the thing, though.
All right.
But here's the thing, though. To play to my guy's strength, Mackenzie Alexander, if you didn't figure it out by now, he's a right cornerback. Kyle Fuller is a right cornerback, and he's stout. Like, he's a baller. He's a gamer. He's getting better. Yes, he's young. I don't want to move Mac to the left and have him struggle and hear noise about, he's not as great as he was in college. So because you already have a standout right cornerback, I feel like Shaq Lawson can do more for you on that defensive line than what you currently have.
Oh, as a Bears fan, I would be thrilled if it plays out this way. If both Lawson and Alexander are available, that'd be great because you can't lose with either one of those picks. They desperately need both of those positions.
And some pressure would help Fuller and Porter cover a little bit shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
Because now
Yeah.
people are getting free releases and running
Yep.
wherever on them.
Shaq Lawson had 24.5 tackles for losses last year. That's a crazy
That's what I'm saying.
number.
So
That's a lot.
That's a crazy number.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
So let's let him live in the backfield and
Yeah.
Shaq Lawson to the Chicago Bearbacks.
Okay, moving on to number 12. Now, every mock I see, except for the one that JP just had pulled up over here, I see one name going to the Saints. It always seems to be like the same name going to the Saints.
Paxton?
So I'm wondering if Evan's going to go the same route or if he's going to switch it up. I hope he switches it up, but
All right, again, Evan, the bullpen commenter, likes the idea of Paxton Lynch.
Is that a new
I was going to say, is that a new Twitter
Evan,
handle?
Evan, the
bullpen
PFT's gonna be pissed.
My name is
Who is this Evan guy and his proper grammar?
I like the idea of Paxton Lynch as being a guy New Orleans can have sit behind Breeze for the twilight years for the next 2, 3, 4 seasons.
Like when he reads the books?
Exactly. When he reads the Twilight books and learns.
About
I don't know
Bella
anything about Twilight, so I can't make a
and
funny
Team
pun.
Jacob?
Yeah. And to learn from Breeze. I like that idea. However, you look at the defense and how terrible this team was last year. 32nd in points and points allowed, 31st in yards allowed, dead last in yards average, passing and rushing allowed. I think you got to go something to solidify that defensive front. I say Ashawn Robinson out of Alabama.
Ashawn?
Ashawn.
See, now, the mocks that I've always seen, they haven't been Paxton Lynch. They've been defensive line, so you went in the right route. It's just been a different guy on the defensive line. I won't give that away, but because that way if somebody's thinking about picking him or whatever.
I'm totally with you, though. That's where they got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of, when you have such obvious needs on one side of the ball,
Right.
like you're almost historically bad on one side of the ball, the idea of taking a guy who's not going to play for you at a position where you've already invested like $30 million a year,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's
and you're,
crazy.
And you're doing it in a division where you're going against Cam Newton twice a year, Jameis Winston's improving,
Yep.
and Matt Ryan maybe can somehow find his old self again.
Now,
Sorry, I'm
the other-
allergic to BS.
The other thing, Mike, that brings up the debate between Robinson and Reed, the two defensive tackles for Bama. There's so much talk about which one's better.
Right.
I see some people who have Reed in the first round. Robinson doesn't even go in the first round, vice versa. I think those guys, that'll be fun to watch, those two, where they end up landing come Thursday. And maybe Friday, depending on the situation. So
The most disappointing pick in the draft is next.
we're moving on to 13, the Miami Dolphins
Yeah.
and the great Andy Behrens.
The Miami Dolphins have just a glaring need, an absolute glaring need at corner. There's some buzz about them taking running back, and I'm sure they'd be a little bit interested if Zeke fell. I don't think he's going to fall. I think this pick is just obviously Mackenzie Alexander.
Not the.
You're picking him. The Dolphins are going to pick Eli Apple.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's crazy, and I don't want to crap on Eli Apple too much because he could very well go.
That's funny though, because that means he can't cook, can't cover. I mean, those are two glaring deficiencies.
Oh
That
my
guy-
God,
that
I'd
guy
love
has
to know how
nothing
that
going
can't
for him
cook
right now.
thing comes up in the scouting discussion, right? Like, that's amazing.
He might get cooked.
But he was really grabby in college. I don't know how many PI flags he drew, but it was a lot.
We'll call him hands-on.
Yeah, so I just think the difference between Alexander and Apple is pretty clear. Alexander, the criticism that he draws is that he did not intercept a pass in college, which seems conspicuous, but he allowed a 48.7 passer rating. That's crazy.
I mean, as a senior, only 19 completed passes on, 70 balls?
That's just nuts, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
And he shut down Will Fuller, who
Yep.
some people have ranked as the number 1 wide receiver, so there's that.
All right, moving on. The Oakland Raiders, number 14. I'm selecting for them. I think their offense is going in the right direction. I mean, there's not really a big need on the offensive line. I think it's still kind of early for one of the wide receivers, and you still have Crabtree and Cooper.
Who?
You don't need a running back. I think I'm going to go defense. They've got a good pass rush going for them with Mack. I'm going to take Reggie Ragland, the linebacker out of Alabama, stick him in the middle.
The thumper?
They've got the speed bull rush. Now you got the thumper Ragland, bringing the Raiders back to their heyday.
Mack and Ragland's pretty sweet.
But we got Le'Veon coming out the backfield. We got Jamal Charles coming out the backfield. We got a lot of people who are going to rape him in coverage. In the run game, he's going to maul people. But is he going to come off the field just like in college, every third and long?
So
he's
that's
like a
Bring him along,
two down
bring him
back.
along.
Yeah.
But no, I mean him plugging a hole. I mean, filling a B or an A gap is money. I just get nervous if he has to get out there in space and attempt to cover somebody because it'll be a complete wrap.
Yeah, it's fair. I guess you look at the teams that they've got to get past in
their division.
division.
All running backs who catch the ball out of the
Yeah,
backfield.
Denver's going to be a problem. Obviously, Kansas City throws their running back all day, but
Yeah.
they run it all day too. So.
But healthy Le'Veon, fully getting the rock out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Screens, I mean, that's still a pass. He's going to have to get through all the trash. But I love him in the run game. I just wish he could cover.
All right, we'll move on to number 15. I think since we're kind of running short on time here, full disclosure, listeners, we're going to the Cubs game tonight. The great Jake Arrieta is pitching, so
It'll be over early.
Right. So let's go. We'll finish around to 16. That way, everybody kind of got 4 picks, and then we'll talk a little bit more, maybe some surprises that we might see down the end. So JP, take it away at 15 here with the Titans.
This one is pretty simple, so we don't
Yep.
have to talk a lot about this. They need linemen to protect their crown jewel and Marcus Mariota. So let's go with I'm going to go with Taylor Decker out of Ohio State.
Wow, Ron
Third
Stanley's
Ohio-
fall continues.
Oh, honestly, I didn't even think of
I
that.
told you
Wow.
why I'm skipping out on him. Like, if you're going to be a left tackle, you got to be tough. Like, you need to be
It's safe
tough.
to say we don't have a lot of people that listen to this, but it's safe to say that Ronnie Stanley won't be a fan.
This is good. I'm not big on the internet yet, but hopefully Ronnie Stanley sees this and uses this as fuel in his fire and tells people like, look, I proved JP Yahoo Sports wrong for my first 16-game NFL career. Right, I mean, here you go, buddy. This is for you. But yeah,
I do feel like this would be a dream scenario for the Titans,
Yeah,
right? To have
yeah.
to have a bunch of totally credible linemen fall to them.
Right. If you get to choose between Decker and Stanley, like you really.
Yeah,
For
things
them,
have gone really well.
after you've traded and got the boatload of picks that they got,
Yep.
like you're off to a good start for them.
But Decker can also play guard, which
Correct.
Chance
Yeah, right,
Womack and Jeremiah Patasi. I mean, he's interchangeable there. And I mean, Taylor Lewan.
Well, Luan, it seems like they're going to keep him on the left side, and Decker was the right tackle at Ohio State.
I mean,
last year.
Byron Bell. I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard of him.
Fair enough. That seems like a good segue. Speaking of never heard of, let's go to the Detroit Lions at 16.
Yeah.
Well,
Unfortunately, this is how we're going to end it. But
yeah, part of me, gut instinct, when I saw I had the Lions, I thought wide receiver would count.
You're channeling your inner Matt
Because it's the
Mellon?
most Lions thing of all time.
Yeah, because it's the most Lions thing to do.
Evan's gonna take Charles Rogers.
Because Calvin's gone. But then I looked at the depth chart. I'm like, well, they got Marvin Jones, Tate, T.J. Jones, Curley. I mean, it's not Corey Fuller. Not like exciting, but they've got 5 guys who can be passable and serviceable. You look at the rest of the line. I think defensively, absolutely atrocious against the run last year, dead last. Offensively, but also yards average on the defensive side was pretty bad. I looked at the wrong number. I realized halfway through I was saying that. I'm going to go with a guy I've seen who was a sleeper, but could really surprise, Sheldon Rankins out of Louisville.
See, that's who I thought you were
I knew you were gonna
take
do that.
for New Orleans.
I was already looking at it. I knew he was going to pull that one.
I like that pick. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. Very dominant.
That's a good call and a totally reasonable spot for Rankins to go.
Yeah.
Like
Who
that,
the hell are you making a reasonable pick for the Lions? Come on, man. I said
Again,
if
this is
you
not-
were the GM.
This is not real life. I mean, let's be honest here.
I picked in real life.
Is Ronnie Stanley going to be at the draft? Because this would be a really awkward green room
I hope
for him, right? Because they would start talking about him at like
Sitting
pick
all day,
6
yeah.
or whatever, and
why is he
he's
still
still
sitting
there.
That brings up then a quick little segue. Who do we think is going to be the last player sitting in the green room come this draft?
I found out about a half hour ago that Eli Apple is actually going to be there, and I can't believe that people judge him as a first-round corner. So I think he should be there. JP's told me repeatedly that that's who Miami wants, like in the first half of the first round, which is just crazy to me.
It's gonna happen.
I mean, the logical pick would be Kim Geechee because of all the off-the-field problems, but there's so much hype recently about him still somehow getting into the first round.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I think
You gotta have stats. Like at some point, you gotta actually.
He had a
produce.
touchdown.
yeah, right, right. Okay, maybe he'll be a fullback
against.
then. Maybe
Hey,
he'll John
that'd
Coon.
be a scary fullback.
Are we still picking?
No. We're
Can I just say that I would have had the next pick? I would have been Atlanta, and I would have started the wide receiver run.
I was gonna say, yeah, Dan, that was for you because I'm pretty sure that somebody was gonna. I mean, Matt Ryan has to throw incomplete passes to somebody other than Julio. So
I mean, doesn't the wide receiver run probably start around Houston at 22? Like
Nah,
more often than not.
I
I feel like Atlanta's another team that needs everything, and they have you know, I'm a Corey Coleman guy. A lot of people like Dotson. I don't know who there is a fair amount of disagreement about who the top receiver is in this draft. I don't think there's a Julio in this draft. I love the idea of pairing Julio with Corey Coleman.
I think you're right, though. Be Houston. We could see Houston,
Minnesota,
Cincy,
Cincy all go
take
for receivers.
wideouts.
Yeah. If those 3 teams don't take wide receivers, I quit.
Yeah.
I had your Vikings taking Dotson and getting extra sexy.
I love Josh Dotson. I would love Laquan Treadwell. I love most of these wide receivers because it would just be some extra new infusion outside of Cordero Patterson.
I think it's totally obvious that Minnesota is going to take a wide receiver,
Which is why I don't think they'll do it.
It's
It's like when everybody thought they were going to take a quarterback at in the beginning of the first round a couple years ago, and they took Anthony Barr.
Right.
I think we're going to get another one of those.
A little preemptive.
Laquan would be great for Cam Newton, but they'd have to come down and trade up, whatever the terminology is. They'd have to get closer to pick him.
Ted Ginn, bro, they're set.
Ted Ginn, who only catches the ball when it doesn't count.
One last thing I want to pose: Jalen Smith. We talked a lot about Miles Jack. This guy could have even been, might be even a better linebacker. than Miles Jack, according to a lot of people.
Maybe.
The knee, he's probably out for 2016. Does a team take a chance on him in the first round, or is he pretty much a slam dunk day 2?
He'll go like top of the second.
He may.
Does he go top second though? Is somebody gonna?
I would give him that because once he rehabilitates and comes back, I always use the example every single year of Willis McGahee. He tore every single thing in his knee before surgery and rehab were where they're at today. And he came back stronger and had a stellar NFL career at running back, where he repeatedly got hit in his knees. Like Jalen Smith has the same opportunity with great surgeons, with amazing rehabilitation to be just that, if not better or more explosive. So, I mean, you could let him sit a full year, and in 2017, you arguably have a top outside linebacker, middle linebacker.
I do think one of the teams that's probably at the top of the second round who thinks that they don't have a lot of needs, right? Who thinks that they're really close, could probably stash him for a year and just see if they get a superstar out of it. I think that's probably what it is.
I mean, it comes to a point, like, I mean, I think a team that has a ton of picks, like a team like, that ends up with like the Titans or the Browns, that feel like they can. I mean, the Browns probably won't because they need a lot of help, but maybe the Titans do it.
Titans probably feel like they're really close.
So they could probably.
What if Doxson falls to the Panthers at 30?
That'd be sexy for them.
I feel like there's so much buzz around Dotson that that would be quite a fall.
After cutting his
and then you've got Kelvin Benjamin and Josh Dotson, two guys who just
you would move Ted Ginn Jr. varsity to slot and tell him to run the drag routes. Like, hey, you clear out space.
Which is what he should be doing anyway.
That's very true.
I want to say one thing about the ACL thing is I feel like a more recent comparison after McGahee could be Lattimore. A guy who fell, I want to say it was the 4th round, and ended up obviously not playing in the NFL with the Niners, but maybe that could be, I saw a suggestion that maybe that's where Jalen falls, is he's a late day 2, early day 3 guy. Which,
some people have said day 3, and I mean, you know where he's going to go? The Patriots are going to draft him.
Yep.
It'll be all
They're going to sit on him for a year.
Yeah.
He'll go on to win. He'll be the defensive Tom Brady for the next 15 years from that squad. And Belichick will just sit back. He'll wear a hoodie on the field, and he won't, he'll still be one of the best players.
By the way, the email said I was supposed to wear a hoodie for today.
Right, because you were going to end up with the Patriots pick.
I didn't get one in time, so...
It's okay. You went as our well-dressed person.
JP, who did you want for Washington?
Carl Joseph.
He was going to give you Derrick Henry. I'm just kidding.
I was toying with it. Actually, if I wanted
Derrick Henry's not a bad pick. It's just that Jay Gruden's such a terrible coach. He just wouldn't use him right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, you'll take him and be like, okay, I see you Redskins, and then
he'd turn him into like a
not even that. Like, let's run
out of the backfield.
Let's run stretch plays. No. Let's run dive. Let's run counter, just like the Hogs. No, I want to run stretch. I want to run zone. But why are we running zone with a 250-pound gorilla in the backfield? No, I want to see if he can get the edge. Like, let's run screens.
I feel like Seattle is probably going to go offensive line, right? It's a pretty glaring need.
Yeah, they don't have a left tackle.
I feel like they are a stealth spot for Derrick Henry.
Just to take him in the end of the first.
Because I don't that Rawls injury is serious. Like, he was a great story last year, but that was pretty. Like, he's not running. It's April and he's not running.
Yeah, he's still in like a boot.
So
at 26.
And it's just So I don't. He's not available where they will pick in the second round. I would think so.
But at 26, he'll be there.
He'd be there. Yeah, I think that'll be a really
beast mode.
I think that'll be an interesting pick because
he would be running the same plays from college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dang.
Interesting.
That would suck for the Niners without Miles Jack at linebacker. You just have Bowman out there by himself on the island, just taking hits all game.
Week after facing Gurley, he'd have to face Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Navarro Bowman didn't come off from breaking his leg for this. Chip Kelly and Trent Baalke.
All right, well, we'll end on that note. Andy, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you all for listening as well. We'll be back in a couple weeks like we always are.
Hail to the Redskins.
We'll have Dan back. He'll be running the show because I can't steer the ship like he can.
Dan's tweeting.
He is tweeting right now, but anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys soon. Go draft.